We're trying to pull Bob up. It's 11 a.m. Okay. I was trying to get him pulled up. Oh, no, he's coming. He's right there. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. Everyone will stand and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good midday, everyone.
Good day.
Okay, we'll have roll call of the members and state whether or not there's a conflict of interest.
Holly Powell, no conflict.
Martin Carpenter, no conflict.
Antoinette Kelly, no conflict.
Susan T. Adams, no conflict.
Bob Howell, no conflict.
Consideration of the 2023 municipal election report will be done by Tawana today.
So, hey everyone, Bob, did you get the email? I'm sorry, I just sent it to you.
Okay, I'll check right now, I'm sure it's there.
Okay, so this is a spreadsheet. It's our Canvas reconciliation sheet. Probably never seen it before. So this is what we use to, not just this, but it's a balance sheet. And I know there were some questions between election day, one stop, absentee by mail. And you're probably concerned because you kind of see the red marks. But you have to remember, so with the municipal election, one thing we had to do was we had Eastwood precinct that was closed because they're not open for the municipal. We had to transfer some people out of that precinct into other precincts. So we had one for Taylortown, we had some in Eastwood precinct that went to Carthage, and we had some in Eastwood precinct that went to East Millwood. So because the state likes us to report by precinct, because those individuals were in a precinct and they went into the tabulator, and when the data comes back, it keeps track of those people, so it's gonna flag them, and that's kind of why you see the red people. They're like, it's flagged, they're like, oh, they're out of precinct and everything of that nature. So once we balance everyone out with the numbers, at the very tail end, total difference, you see we're in the black with the number 3. Basically, that is saying that the 2 people that you approved with the provisional, with the regency that were within the municipality, once I fix the GIS data, they will get credit. And there was one more, and I can't remember who that person was, but once I fix their record, they'll get credit and everything will balance out. So it just shows you how we balance everybody out to get to that final result of the 3. And once we finalize the Canvas results and the data, and we fix the corrections with our GIS data, everything, all the numbers will total and will be correct with the numbers for our municipal election.
Okay, I have a couple questions. So I see the numbers, ballots cast for election day. How come it doesn't show any for curbside or transfers?
Curbside and transfers are separate columns. So
I know, I see them, but it says 0 ballots cast.
So for some precincts, they didn't have any curbside voting.
On election day, they're all zeros.
So for some of them, so for vote history,
I'm looking at the green ballots cast. They're all zeros. That can't be right.
which it isn't. So we have 246.
So are they in the wrong column?
No, that's just how the system does it. It just shows zero. It was 246 that did curbside. And it does the difference of 246, which is right. And then the state has a weird system of balancing. That's why I said we don't really use this one. We go by the report that Annie does, and we go into our system and we look at it. But as you continue to shift everything over, it deducts all the way over. So then when we do election day transfer, it does the 13, and it continues to deduct all. So when it says election day difference between in-person difference, curbside difference, and then transfer difference, it has a difference of just one. That's the.
Okay, let me make sure. So election day curbside, the voter history column is actually how many people voted curbside instead of ballots cast.
Correct.
So I guess I don't understand
Yeah.
why
Why is it in that column?
don't we just have one column then? I mean,
That's just how the state.
this is how the state does
Yes.
it.
So on election day, there were 13 transfers.
Yes.
And so one stop in person, that number does the 1936. That is how many voters there were, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then one stop curbside, there were actually 60.
Yes.
It's just the way the columns are labeled. It's very confusing.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
So I guess my question is, if for curbside, ballots cast is 0, the real ballots cast are voter history.
It's just in the wrong column.
So we get to these other columns. We have down for one stop for the Ag Center, there's the 1936. Okay, nothing in voter history there.
Well, voter history hasn't been finalized yet.
I guess I'm having trouble with the voter history. What the point of it is, if it's what the state does, it's what the state does. It's not what we use, correct? So we do.
No, that voter history hasn't been finalized yet. Once voter history has been finalized, this is just showing you ballots cast, what the voter history should be. And it's gonna talk about the difference, but once it has been finalized, everything will shift over. But we haven't finalized it yet. Because if I was to print the report, it's gonna have an unofficial watermark on it, and I can't use that report for you to sign it, but it hasn't been finalized. This is just to show you the numbers of everything that has happened.
So now what is it you have to turn in by noon today?
If you're looking at the numbers to see what we've done in each of the election day, one stop, absentee by mail, which you're gonna look at the supplemental and transpose those numbers onto the supplemental report. And if you're happy with the numbers and how everything has turned out, then once you're satisfied with that, Amy will go ahead and finalize the election with the numbers. And then I can redo that report and look at it again, and everything should shift over. Now, like I said, until she finalizes and I do the geocode update to include the ones with the jurisdiction dispute, which I can't do that until after she finalizes, everything should balance out.
So that last number will become a 0.
Yes, ma'am, that last number will become a 0.
So I guess we look at our real numbers now.
Once you finalize vote history, yes.
But I mean, are Are we approving anything that's on this sheet?
No,
Because
you're just looking at
we're
numbers.
just looking at it.
You're just looking at numbers. So once Annie finalizes, you'll get a final report of all the numbers. And you just look at the numbers. Because once, this is the number that we. And these all printed zero.
What?
These printed zero.
No, go to the next page.
Oh,
I don't think Cameron,
that's right.
yeah,
Every race wasn't.
yes.
Okay, so when she uploaded the provisionals, yeah, that's right, every race didn't have one. The provisionals and the late absentees, that came out on that report. But you're not gonna see it on here because everything is combined. So this is just to let you know what the total numbers were from everything that we've done. But until she finalizes, like Ms. Susan said, that last three, that's what we're looking at, that everything all the way across and down will balance out to zero.
Okay.
And I do need a team to transpose the late absentees that we did yesterday onto this sheet, which was 19. I forgot which one we did. That was 18. Yes. Late absentees or something.
The one on the far side was 18 and this one on here was 19. So absentees was 18.
So who wants to do that to me?
We'll look at that. It's no problem. We can do it. 'Cause you have to. Just need to
What
get
we
it
doing?
Like we did the last time. And then
These numbers and write them down. Microscope numbers.
You're gonna read number one? Is that what we're doing?
We got glasses, you might want.
So far, almost the heroes.
Oh, the first page is that zero report page.
remember, you gotta go down. And you only had the 19 ballots, so not every race is gonna have one.
So she, oh my goodness, they're really little.
Yeah.
Ready? Taylor,
Hold the road history. What's there?
Wait a minute.
You starting at the
Yeah,
bottom?
you start at your bottom.
Yes.
All right, I'm
This
gonna,
is zero.
yeah, you gotta show.
it does.
Yeah.
It's all, makes some sense.
It'll say on town of Aberdeen Board of Commissioners. Okay, so this is the month you're starting up here.
Ryan Wall,
Elise Goodwin, 1. Ron Utley, 1. What about Tuesday? 0.
So do you want me to print you a different report so it makes sense to you?
the next numbers.
What we were talking, it looks like once you balance everything, all the voter histories will go to zero, and those numbers, whatever the new total is, will go under ballots cast. Is that correct? But by curbside, once everything's balanced, it'll go from voter history over to ballots cast on this sheet.
So
Everything switches up, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so,
mean, it's backwards the way they do it.
yeah, I'd be saying that makes,
So we do have it
makes no sense, but
That's how it is, yes. So a lot of times what
Town
we
of Carthage
do
Mayor,
is we take from
or
the
town of
EMR.
Town of Carthage Mayor.
Look at there. So we do our own audit, and it's always, she knows, so that's why. we do the
haven't
audit.
seen Cameron
So we
yet.
take there, what they. do.
Tawana, I'm sorry, when you're finished, would you come over here? first? No.
Wait over there.
Oh, okay.
The town of, that is zeros.
Town of Carthage Mayor, right?
Did you?
Correct.
Yes, we wanna make sure we're doing this correct.
Yeah, whatever. it is.
Cameron isn't on here, so that will.
Oh, yeah, that,
Okay.
yeah, that was absentees, and no, Cameron, Robbins, and Foxfire wouldn't do the absentees.
So do we need to put zeros here?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
So, that one.
Carthage Commissioners,
Oh,
zeros.
So how we balance is we go by the tapes from It's, it was DS200 and what the precincts
I love
right there. and how they
there's
balance
not a
this.
box fire on here, so
And
we
then
can see
we do a
those.
report from the election where we use all that stuff. And that's how we back. Because
Zeros.
like you said, this is
Pinehurst
the vote
mayor.
history that the machine is saying.
Alright,
And we're like, okay, so we have to go into our
Morgan
system
forward.
and we have to go
Priscilla,
in
three.
person and then we gotta flip over to curbside, we gotta make sure.
We're on
both
five.
of them match. And then once they do
Launch
that, once we finalize everything.
Chickland.
Okay.
Matt is 2. Taylor,
And that's in our one-stop system now.
So when we meet next time,
Emmett, in Southern
there should be an
Pines.
update to this that we can then look at that will show everything moved over.
So before you leave, you can look at that.
Okay.
Because you gotta sign. But like I said, once you finalize this,
6,
it's not, it will hold
Hunter
on.
Hines,
You
2.
have to send out to the state. And this will.
Southern Pines Council, grade 4.
And it's really all time.
7,
Theoretically.
They're like,
Tucson, 2.
so like I said, the thing that you don't want is that
Taylor
phone
Town,
number.
0 all the way down.
It needs to be a 0.
Well, and sometimes what happens is it will say, like if it's in the red, that means you either have vote history, you had 2 people.
Bass, 0 all the way down.
Have a history, or vice versa. And this is
Commissioner
like I said,
Bass,
I see
0
where
all the way
it
down.
came from. I have the 2 people that
Whispering
ran the
Pines
provisional
City
ballots
Council,
for that guy.
0 all the way down.
But then so I can get their jurisdiction dispute taken care of and stuff like that. And I have it
There's 0 all the way
Okay.
down.
That was the biggest
Whispering
one.
Pines.
That took every 2021. And usually during municipal.
They even own this chapter?
Okay. Reach out to all the
It's not.
municipalities. To say, hey, you can refuse, annexation. But they only go back so far. You know, it's not- And so I didn't catch that one. They had individual decisions. So then what I can do is I can go to DIS and I can send her a list of the municipalities that she can do an audit for me. And that's my street, the work streets, and let me know what streets I do have that part and what streets I don't have. And then I can update that.
Okay.
So I can next time.
You just leave those blank because they're not on here?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay.
And I have them verified to you and they can sign as well. Their number. This was. So this was the late absentees that came in the 19. And it's going to.
Okay, so which ones are we comparing here?
From tape and tape.
We have to compare to the tape.
The tapes, okay.
Extract from tape and then sign as well. So it's gonna start repeating this one.
Which one? This one?
This one right here, mhm, that's the first one, that's the beginning of the tape right
Do you want me to read it all? You want to read it all?
We can actually look at this book, I guess, to a certain extent. Let's see. Y. Remember, no write-ins.
I'm not sure. I'm home.
Carthage is down here.
Okay.
And Carthage was 0. And then we have Carthage
Yeah, okay. Did you just put in a time for us?
Oh, absolutely. I respect the Board of Education and my fellow members.
We're not the Board of Education, Bob.
I knew I was gonna say that, and I spent so many years worried about and writing to and speaking to the Board of Education that, but it's not fair that we have two important bodies start. I do know that I'm a member of the Board of Elections, and I respect y'all a lot more than the Board of Education. That's all.
Okay.
Okay, you're at, you're up there, 343, okay.
Here's.
I did not.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, Braden is 0, okay, I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out what that was.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
Next number.
Okay,
Okay, the players council,
and then, it's
Five.
Red Cup Day, yeah.
2, 4.
Okay, that's correct.
And then we got what, Robin next?
Uh-huh.
Percentage off if you did any free drinks or.
What do you have next on here? 7 okay, so Robbins is all 0s, okay. 7 times,
My kids, and do some stuff.
620,
okay.
It's too expensive.
and then the council is 472.
Okay.
I had,
We already did that.
And it was delicious. And I was a passenger in the car when she went to Starbucks, and I looked at the price.
Taylor Town.
Taylor.
This is really good.
You're absolutely correct.
All zeros.
All 0s, okay. Mr. Hines?
She ordered something with mushrooms.
Council was all zeros, yes.
And I thought, it was like $9.
Two little croissant, but they're not
This council.
little cup, custard cup things.
It was all genius.
Yeah.
Somewhere unexpired. That's right here, that's all 0s,
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're all correct.
he has cartridge, he didn't get his cartridge.
Did they do it?
Cartridge maker, see if we got it up there.
And they redo it.
Oh,
Which mayor also?
The balance out to the CEOs over here.
And Cameron had nothing relating to the, correct?
And I wanted to check on.
They didn't allow absentees.
Yeah, there's nothing on here.
Okay, so these are all right. Okay. But because she wants us to sign that, we verified it.
Okay, and so let's see, we're gonna do,
No, we're done.
You're done with
and
that.
we signed
Just
out,
sign the
No,
paper.
we're signing this.
this one over here.
We've already signed this. This is the.
Marty, when you asked about the voter history, did she say it was past history or was that just something?
It's actually the current, but we don't have any ballots cast until we balance everything out. And then all those histories move to the left to balance cast.
Okay, gotcha,
That's how I understand it.
got it.
start to snore, please wake me
Yeah,
up.
okay. He's gonna spreadsheet. You keep this too. Our team or something.
But
Okay.
a lot of the tea on a cold afternoon, and there's nothing to me that's any better. I'm talking about just more treat, rewarding myself.
Okay. Trying to get into the holiday season. Doing all my baking and my creative stuff. I said I'm over here trying to get my creative juices flowing for the holiday and think about things that I do as far as like baking and my hot chocolate. routines.
Yeah, gotta get them going for Thanksgiving first and then reorganize for Christmas.
There you go.
So I guess she's taking the numbers we just gave her, and we've signed up on it, and then she's putting them into the system.
She didn't take the sheets, we just signed off. Maybe she's fixing the geocodes. Yeah. Minimum.
On this side of all this. It's really
A lot more than most people think.
Yeah.
You just fill it up and you listen to it. I can remember Linda going out into the country to find someone all by herself at night. And someone had forgotten to sign something.
As far as I know, I'm assuming our county chairman is
The person was.
keep us in the loop. I cannot see the legislature
So
overruling
that
county
everybody
chairman.
could count.
For either party, I mean, a lot of pays discontent, so we have mobile forwards. I do not see the legislature, for whatever reason, the legislature wants to be the one to do the appointment. So,
Those are the two.
that is what I saw in the details. Was decide whoever the four are, and if that four can't decide after 30 days, then the state will determine the chairman.
Wouldn't be
Just
a special star.
Yeah. There's pluses and minuses with this. I talked to Linda. Linda to understand what went with they need to chairman.
Well, it's pretty sure another person I saw.
Well, yeah, but no, it's like two. They want to make a change, and the legislature just said, we want to include that fifth party. I feel like look at the results. You screw results.
The director, the board chairman, that I just looked through.
Some of the legislature wants to replace me and does not.
When did she stop? opinion that I made.
She was
I
chairman.
want to be through this more like
She was not my party, but I still loved her.
Yeah, she was, I think she was.
She was tiny. And I was older than she is. Always. You'd hear her picking away, you know, you'd hear her long before you see her. She was a force to be reckoned with. She truly was. Just very, very, very pleased to listen to
As
her.
soon as I take so much
She was. But
I
everybody,
was going to be the third guy.
she was the chairman.
So this would be bad. You know, before that she's not. I'm living in the high condition, text there. So this time Craig is not going to.
If you want to call it that. Okay. So now, you were saying how there's nothing in voter history. Wait, what were we talking about?
There was nothing in,
Nothing in
ballots
ballots cast, it's
cast.
always voter history is where all the numbers are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, it's the same thing here too. Even after she finalized it.
So she put it in the system, and this is off the state again?
Yeah, so we finalized the ballot. We finalized it, and it still says.
This is really just an overview from the state. This is nothing official here, correct?
See, because absentee right now, I have ballots cast at 118 for absentee. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. You may want to be- I'm sorry. Because we don't do by precinct, we do by style here. For ballot,
we do what?
by style.
Yeah.
So you won't see ballot cast by precinct here. That's why. So for,
It looks like those are ballots by
no,
precinct.
but when I go into, I have a ballot style sheet as well. And when I look at that by ballot style, I have something listed by ballot style. If I was to do if we did by ballot precinct, then you would see the totals in here. But because we do it by style, that's why you're not seeing something listed. That's why it's zero listed like that. So for voter history, that's what, I'm still getting used to that. So for us as a county, we only report by ballot style.
And by style, you mean
So
the
we have
election, whatever the,
The number on it.
the number on the ballot, yeah.
Type of ballot.
Yeah, so we do I have a report that does it by ballot style, where you can see how many voted for that particular style. So, Pinehurst was V8. It would show me how many people voted for that V8 ballot, the total number. But in person for election day in the beginning, that's why you see the totals for both sides, because that's just like one election just for that many people. Curbside, I don't know why ballot cast isn't filled in for Carthage for that whole race right there, but the history is.
but this is still a state generated.
Yes, it's a state generated report, and it is confusing, yes.
Yeah.
So,
But is it what we're reporting to the state?
no. They use this for us to kind of balance out. Most of the counties do not use this report. It is confusing. Like I said, we use other reports to try to balance ourselves out with our numbers. It just lets me know that at the very end, I need to balance out the three for me. And I know what that is. And like I said, that was the two from the Regency area that were in the municipal, and the one other person that we had to balance out because of the address change. That was good.
So then we're gonna go through the forms you have that are similar to this, but they're specific for our county.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, you did the So this one was just the ones that we did last night, the provisional and the absentee. That was that report. However, like I said, we only have 18 of one and 19 of the other. Marty, you have your own.
Okay.
And like I said, there wasn't that many for, so that was just reviewing those numbers. And if you want to, so you looked at the supplemental and did y'all agree that everything,
Yes.
okay,
Who signed it?
and you signed, okay, so I will know them, okay, I'm coming. And then, she's trying to get it before the thing. And then, now for the provisional, we read across, remember?
Mhm.
The provisional reads across. Now, everything's not gonna show.
Okay, go ahead.
Remember, some of them was zeros, so that whole page is blank.
Okay,
And then, this is when you started with the Pine Bluff one.
okay, provisional.
So for provisional, I
Down
think you
here.
start with Pine Bluff, right?
Pine Bluff Commissioner, yes. Okay,
Let me find it, hold on. Let me see. Did you find, wait a minute, let me find Pine Bluff. So for Pine Bluff, for provisional, you had Guy McCall with 2. Okay, you tracking, Martin?
I'm looking for Pine Bluff. There it is. Okay, Pine Bluff. Yep.
Okay, and then Mike Thomas for 2,
Yes.
and then Frank Wakefield for 3.
Correct.
Okay, so then the next one it was Pinehurst Mayor. We had Jeff Morgan for 6.
And Pat Pizzella for 1.
Kevin Brown, 0, okay.
Yeah, Kevin John had 0, yeah.
Okay.
Then we had the Pinehurst Council.
2.
We had Claire Burton for 6,
Okay.
and then Lydia Bosch for 4. Bart Thicklin for 1, and then John Taylor for 3.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. And then we went to Robbins, and then I had Cameron Dockery for 1. And then we went to Robbins Commissioner, I had Brandon Phillips for 1 and Kevin Stewart for 1. And then we went to Southern Pines for Mayor. I had Taylor Clement for 3, and then Oliver Hines for 2. And that was it for that race. And then for the Southern Pines Council, I had Deborah Gray for 3, William Pate for 3, and Karen Tusley for 1. And then for the Taylortown Council, I had Gary Brown for 1, Adam Cheatham for 1, Bridget Cotton for 2, Sidney Gaddy for 1, David Levine for 1, Marvin Taylor for 2, and Eleanor Diane Wright for 2.
Okay.
And then after that, it was just zeros from that point on.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have, there's 4 pages. 4 pages that I need everyone to sign. There's 2 are gonna go to the ABC Commission to certify Cameron the ABC election. One goes to the state, one stays here,
Okay.
and then I'll get Bob to sign his. So, please sign and then pass those down for me, and I'll make sure there's nothing else for you to sign it for.
Go ahead.
Is this their first year of using sheets like this?
I do not remember that sheet from last
Because
time.
we used to have a very easily read,
I remember this date sheet, and we could have probably done without it today.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of our recommendations for the future.
Maybe somebody who just learned how to use special features in Excel decided, man, I'm really good at this one.
Yeah, took some effort.
Yeah.
Did you do it after? The last
I don't remember taking this on.
Did you do?
Because I.
Just telling you, it's time for me to go. I mean, that's why I'm standing up. I can't sit down. But it's like this, the weather like this, I gotta stand up. My knees are crying.
And we have the numbers we're gonna throw.
So that
That's throw, sign
she
off.
actually showed us was
Oh,
not. Just so you.
It's gonna be harder this time around. I don't
Yeah.
understand why. Of course, when the state board comes in, it's gonna get, they're gonna make their changes.
Gonna have to make them pretty fast.
Yeah.
I just hope there are no changes. Which there always is, when in the morning, the state always changes.
I can live with it if I'm not. I can live with it if I'm not. Don't forget the Christmas tree.
I was in the local Toyotas, I got, I mean, the Congress told us we would, you know.
What time?
Yeah, but there's three of us.
Yes, it's not from 3 to 2, that's the issue with you guys now.
Whichever it is the Friday, whether it's the first or the second. I have my calendar here.
I noticed around here, it was starting to also, the guys that know, putting all the decorations.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Especially on the main.
So do you drive around, what, like, or just like a person?
Get phone.
They have it, yeah, well,
What we see, the two guys, seem like they left half this stuff.
COVID, everything's
They're all over the tree.
but when
As soon as they have a checklist, it's like, go through,
trying
right?
to do
Have a checklist. Here are the 10 things we have to make sure we take. into
yes, I do.
So, I mean, that's kind of a,
And I will say, there's multiple checklists, and there's multiple forms of things inside.
This is a better report than we did.
We were discussing that, we're not happy with it.
No, we're not happy with that.
I know,
those are
I
agenda
know.
questions.
You just have to keep us busy, didn't you?
Email Bob.
Bob, she'll be emailing you this information, just a second, okay? You have to use on mute.
Thank you, I'll keep an eye out.
So these now are,
The better result copy, so you have something better to look at.
Okay.
Let me email Bob, hold on.
Okay.
These are separated by the municipality and for what precinct belongs in that municipality. Okay. That's why it's constant.
Thank you, because this is much easier.
I'm glad I had to wait till she finalized and then printed it. You need your copies. Okay.
Put it on our scrapbook.
How do you want it?
always what they want.
We can keep it.
Okay,
Did you get your copy, Bob?
Yeah, I just sent it to him.
Oh, okay, okay.
Marty, I can see it, like the light bulb is just blinking.
yeah, I know. It's- Things will clear up for me, I'm sure, at some point in time here.
No,
Real good, Susan, thank you.
What's the question? I see it. Go ahead.
No, I'm fine with this. I'm just waiting for our next step.
Well, this was it. I have you to sign. There's nothing else to sign. This is your report. Like I said, we just had those three.
And we have already signed this because of the tapes.
Yes.
Okay. The tapes are actually the official.
You know over everything that we have. You know why I have the three that's hanging out there. Like I said, I do the steel code updates to include those streets where the people couldn't.
right.
Submit their ballot.
Yeah.
And Holly said she was gonna put these in her scrapbook.
I don't really have a scrapbook.
I'll put them up on the refrigerator.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Can I just, Marty and I were just briefly discussing if we could add an item to the agenda next week. Tony and I noticed how many people on election night were bringing back their things and either had paperwork in the wrong place or didn't bring it at all. Remember, there were an awful lot of precincts who seemed to have some problems. And so we were wondering if maybe we could, at some point, not next week, but at some point, kind of go through the instructions to the poll workers and figure out, like Tony and I have been poll workers, we could maybe help simplify.
Well, and it's funny because we had training on that too.
I know.
And so So Nick did, he canvassed with the judges, and one of the things I did ask him was to talk to them. We are actually going to have a separate paperwork class where, because I don't know what else to call it, because
Yeah.
there is one precinct that kills me with the paperwork. This is my second time dealing with that paperwork, where all the judges are gonna be required to sit with me, and we are gonna go piece by piece and fill out the paperwork, and we're gonna have examples with them to fill out that.
An example of post-election, and here's what the paperwork will look like. Let me show you how you put all this together.
Yes, and then, some of it is a little excessive.
Well, and my question was, how much is required by the state and how much is a county decision?
Some of it is state, some of it, I was looking at it, it's out in this week. And so I was gonna go through it and kind of see what we don't have to do. But yeah, I was gonna copy it.
And part of it is also, there's so many instructions about put this here, put this here, put this here, put this inside this. It can be, and you've been there since 5:30 in the morning. And now you're trying to, balance everything out, and it can be difficult.
Well, one thing we did, and we seemed to find that it did work, and I hate to say it, with our maintenance people, we actually took pictures of everything and put it where they could see, this is where this goes, this is where.
Wow.
And I hate to say that, but it worked. Like when they opened up the book, they knew that this piece goes in that, and so that's one thing that we're looking to do as well.
Yeah, like she said, after 12 hours, you need to have the system as simple as possible for them.
We're about dingy too, but.
I know, but then it's just a simple system.
I like
And
that.
I don't know how we do that, because there's a lot of things that have to be done.
Oh, I already did, yeah, I looked at that too.
I think the idea of taking pictures and putting a book, and they just flip and go, okay, this goes in, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, well, that's one of the.
But as
That's not a
tired
bad
as they
idea,
are,
yeah.
It's easy to look, yeah, it's easy for when you're tired to see it visually than try to
Exactly.
read something and your eyes are crossing.
I think that's
That's-
super.
that's
Yeah, and
easy to
it's
do.
more work for you that first time, but then that book, that continues on until there are changes on the procedures. I believe in the KISS concept.
And that, as tired as they are at that point
Oh,
in time,
yes.
seeing that picture, okay, done.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
So I like the picture idea, and that was, we did that with our maintenance, and it's a smoother transition.
Good.
So, yeah.
Anyway, I would be happy to help in that, and I know it helps to have been a poll worker
Yes.
and to be able to look at that and say, what do we really need to do here? And we want to encourage people to want to be poll workers. And so I'm afraid some of those people who came back and didn't have it all right might be discouraged.
But then it's also, I have some judges that they're not delegated to, and I have to get them to understand, if you don't know how, and I understand that we kind of drive that it's for the chief judge, but if there's something that they don't understand, and there might be someone that does, it's okay for you to monitor what they do and look over it. There's nothing wrong with that, and so we have to get that point across. That's what I think.
Each precinct is a team. They should look themselves as a team working
But
together.
it's driven that, the chief judges and the assistant, and sometimes I have judges that are just in a position to hold the place down. And sometimes they're scared to do so, but there might be somebody else that.
Yes, kind of then delegated if you're not.
But, if
Bob,
I
did you have a
some-
question?
When everybody's through, I'll chime in.
We're done.
We're done.
Thank you. We're done with that. Yes, somebody who has only been able this time, because of circumstances that you're familiar with, has been only able to observe from afar and hear the reports. Just a couple of thoughts. One, that kind of review, taking a step back of the overall process, and simplifying it, streamlining, illustrating it, like Bill had suggested, taking advantage of particularly the experience of Tony and Holly, because they've been both judges and now they've been on this side. But even yet, certainly there has been training, and I'm sure you all covered all of the bases. But for us to be able to pinpoint as a result of this election process, these are particular things that you might have thought were going to take care of themselves, but we're going to be clear, but not. These are the issues that we have. So there would be, that's kind of one thing. The second might be, as sort of a field test to kind of run the process or the book through somebody who is totally unfamiliar with it as a person like me, just to let me take a review of it and say, this is what I understand, or summarize what I think I do, or highlight things that potentially could be confusing or unclear to folks who are going at it for the first time. And the last point is, in some instances, I've experienced it and I'm guilty of this myself, folks who are experienced, paradoxically enough, may think that they don't need to pay quite as close attention to training as they really do, because then you get into that phenomenon that of people who think they understand, but they don't, and so they're not quite as self-critical. And finally, related to that is Marty's point of cultivating that culture for each precinct, and really then the county as a whole. That we're on the same team, we're trying to work together. It's not a flaw or weakness to say, I can remember this, or somebody help me with this, or to turn to other sources of information and support when you need it. So anyway, thanks very much.
Mr. Carpenter, have you ever worked in a polls?
Yeah, so we're back in Indiana, many years ago, back in
Me
Indiana.
too.
We did the
So it's
polls.
not just me.
I mean, that's too. I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
realize you.
I almost was wondering where this conversation was going.
Well, then we'll, anyway,
She was gonna call me out. Right now.
I was almost scared, but never mind, go ahead.
all right, then we all may have ideas.
Yes.
Well, and I think Bob's point is bring somebody in who hasn't ever done it, and let them look at the instructions and see if it makes sense to them.
Exactly.
You make it, back to the KISS concept, you make it as easy as possible for everybody. That's the point. We need to make sure it's as easy as possible.
What's that mean?
Keep
Keep it
Keep it simple,
simple.
stupid. And in the military, you call it making it soldier, sailor, airman, marine proof. Because they've discovered you design things and there'll be one soldier out there that figures out how to screw it up. And it's like, we thought we had it perfect, but we didn't. So now we got to go back and how do we make it so that it's always there? It's the same idea. People can make mistakes, not intentionally. End of the day, they're tired. So I like this picture idea of the book. Okay, step one, you're going to do this report and you do A, B, C, D. This is where they go. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. It makes it as simple as possible. That's how I'd want if I was on the end now.
But I think the pictures will be the biggest
Yeah,
asset.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do have that. Okay, it goes on here. Okay, got it. Yeah, we got to make it easy for them. We want them to keep coming back. Are we done?
We're done.
I'll move that we adjourn.
Second.
Third.
All approved? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
What is your name? You're a little much. I've already said that. I've seen you before.
So the next time I see you